Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the episode number 4. Is this 4? Yeah, it's 4 of the Boomer
Yeah,
Bust
four.
podcast. Yes, sir, for November 10th, 2022. Today it is just me and Matt going at it. So, Matt, how you doing, my guy?
I'm good. Would be doing slightly better if our third co-host was here, JJ. But guys in college, we're all in college. We got responsibilities to take care of. So I respect it. We can still get this podcast kicking with me and you. We're good. We're good. It was a good week though.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you two of you were pretty hot. I wasn't too far behind in our picks, so we'll start out here talk a little NFL Week 9 because why not? That's what we're here
Exactly.
to
Why
talk
not?
about. So, where do you want to start, Matt?
I say let's just recap overall. So me and JJ finished with a 7-1 week, which was pretty good, I thought. Um, And on the other hand, Derek 6-2. So like you said, not far off right there. All good picks around. But we could start with that Thursday night game, that Eagles versus Texans game that was going on at the same time as the World Series, which was kind of cool. But we all went with the Eagles on that. I don't think that was a sign of a doubt at all of that team. Surprisingly, the Texans did cover the line of 14 and a half and that over smacked, which was kind of nice for me in my parlay. But yeah, I mean, it was always Eagles money line on a game like that. But the main game I want to talk about is that Falcons Chargers game. The
That one
two
went down to the
co-hosts on the
wire.
panel, yes, that went down to the wire. And the two co-hosts on the panel, those both were not Falcons fans, and they took the Falcons, which was a little surprising to me. And the one Falcons fan just it felt like something. I felt something brewing just without really knowing, but the Falcons ended up losing that game 20-17. It was a dogfight of a game, but yeah, I mean, you got any thoughts on that game?
See, for me, I don't even know. In that pick, it wasn't even that I was that confident in the Falcons. It was more I just was not confident on the
Confident
Chargers.
in the Chargers.
I mean,
Yeah.
there was that crazy play at the end there. Granted, Eckler ended up being ruled down, but where he like fumbled, and then the Falcons guy fumbled it right back. So I mean, that just kind of perfectly, I think, exemplifies the Falcons this season. They're getting opportunities because certain teams aren't so good in their division,
Yep.
and they're not capitalizing on
Yep.
them, sadly. And now Tampa Bay is right back in that race.
Yeah, it was just crazy, which I'm sad about because you give Tampa an ounce of hope in that division, they're going to run a mile with it, which is just
Mm-hmm.
sad because that division's so weak. But then we move over. We go into Miami versus Chicago, which we all thought this was going to be to some degree. I don't know about our favorite viewer Taberthy, but we all were on Miami. Miami with ease, cruising for the most part. That game was a close game. That game was a lot closer than it should have been.
It was Justin Fields setting the NFL record for most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game. I think he's him. I'm a little biased, just like JJ. I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm really repping today. I got the Yankees hat, the Lakers in the background, talking about my Ohio State Buckeyes. But yeah, I mean, he was the one that kept him in that game. And honestly, there's a couple close pass interference calls that go the Bears' way. They might have even pulled that one out. So definitely a lot closer than all of us viewed it. I mean, I did actually end up betting on that Dolphins game to cover the spread, and granted, the
Uh,
Bills ended up selling my parlay too, but it was a lot more competitive than I think any of us saw coming.
would have yes, would have expected for sure. It's a cool little nickname that's going around Twitter. Justin Fields.
Oh, there you go.
Justin Fields. So I like that. Got a good ring to it. Yeah, he looked great. He kept them in that game. He was running the ball. But he had a dot at the end of the game to I believe it was Equinemius St. Brown. Just
Hmm.
dropped it. A
Yeah,
lot of drops. You said earlier that missed pass interference call at the end of the game on Claypool, I believe. That was pretty bad. That was bad. So this game could have been a Chicago win, and that's surprising to say because we were all heavily on Miami going into it. So
hmm.
Chicago definitely does look better than where they were a week or two ago. So
Oh, definitely.
now I say we move on to that Washington Minnesota game.
Yeah,
Wow,
another one,
another
17-17 down the stretch like the LA Atlanta game, and ended up coming down to a late field goal.
Minnesota. They we'll see later on when we're picking for week 10, but Minnesota is a little overrated in my opinion. That Commanders team played really good, and kept them on. They had the lead at one point, I believe, by like
Mm-hmm.
a 7 or 10. I think it was 17-10 at one point. So
Yeah,
it was a little shocking to see Minnesota there.
yeah. I mean, the
Go ahead.
Commanders are sneakily putting together a good year. If it wasn't for the Eagles and the Giants being the upstarts they are in that division, exceeding expectations, I think more people would be talking about Washington. I mean, 4-5, that'd be first place in the NFC South. So I've honestly been impressed. Heineke, 2 touchdowns, decent game. Brian Robinson, incredible story coming back from getting shot. I mean, he's doing some things. So it's a team that like they could play spoiler down the stretch here against some teams potentially, especially with all those teams in the division looking at playoff spots.
Yeah, that Washington team is a good football team right now after the last 2, 3 weeks that I've seen them play, which is it's good to see for any Washington fans out there watching or just around the world. So then we go to that Seattle and Arizona game in Arizona. Whew, Seattle cruise. Not, I think I'm not going to say cruise confidently because it was a 10-point win, but a 10-point win in the NFL is pretty major, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you're getting spreads such as -10, -14, like the Eagles Texans game. But this spread was a lot closer. I believe it was -2.5. Arizona was favored,
Mm-hmm.
and they ended up losing by 10 to Geno Smith, another guy that is him this season.
He
He
has
he
been.
does enough to win football games. He's just a good playmaker. He's a good what's the word, game manager,
Mm-hmm.
and he does enough to win a game. He just looks lackluster, and Cliff Kingsbury is also not him.
Oh, if it wasn't for Wright getting fired this week, I honestly would have thought Cliff Kingsbury would have been the first coach to go in season this year. That Cardinals team's a mess. Like on the sideline, I feel like every week now we see videos of them having breakdowns, going crazy. I don't think they're gonna figure it out. I mean, they kind of were punching above their weight last year, came back down to earth in the second half of the season. This year they didn't get off to that hot start, and once again they're just not competitive. I gotta give a shout out to Kenneth Walker the third though. Like bro's been balling out, another 2 touchdown game, 109 yards. Like I drafted him in some of my like bigger fantasy leagues as kind of a late round pick.
Mhm.
That is turning out to be a great pick. Getting lucky obviously
Yeah,
with the injury to Penny, so he's had a bigger role, but he has stepped up perfectly for this Seahawks team.
yeah, he's filled that void perfectly that they had missing when they lost Rashad Penny. Having a rookie step up is very hard, especially running behind a mid to I'd say below average offensive line. So, he's really proven himself this year. And for fantasy users, that was a sneaky good pickup
Yeah.
for sure. We move to the Bucks and the Rams game. A dogfight of two not dogs at the time,
No.
and still not really dogs, but yeah, that game ended up finishing 16-13 in the favor of the Bucks. What an ending to a game. What a week of NFL. A lot of close games, 3, 4, 5 point like coming up at the end, final scores. So it was interesting. We were all on the Bucks except you, Woot. You took the Rams on this one. I
Oh
was
yeah.
leaning the Rams initially, but just two teams that I wouldn't really care to see win. And now that the Bucks won it, and I was on their side, I'm kind of disappointed because they're back to ruling the NFC South.
Yeah, I mean this was not a fun one to watch. It was really the only one I didn't watch a ton of that Seahawks Cardinals game just because they were both on the same network. So this was the one I got in my area, and I mean it was vintage Brady at the end, but it was a lot
Yep.
of not so great Tom Brady for majority of it. It's not all on him obviously, but
Yeah. No.
that was not the game coming into the season you expect between these two. You'd expect like some high powered like pretty like offensive heavy game. I mean, both teams do have good defenses,
Yeah.
but you would have expected a little bit more offensive firepower. I mean, Cooper Cup got his per usual 127 yards and the lone touchdown for the Rams. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, the Buccaneers are probably gonna make the playoffs just 'cause how bad that division is. The Rams are in trouble, man. They are in some deep, deep trouble right now. I don't think like the Seahawks are now 3 games up on them in the division. The wild card, like I said, there's two like really competitive teams in the NFC East. It's gonna come
Yep.
like the Rams are gonna be fighting for that last spot, I think. So they gotta step it up if they're gonna get it.
Yeah, they got to turn things around quick if they want to have change in that team and make another postseason Super Bowl run that they just came off of.
Mm-hmm.
Titans and Chiefs to round it out Monday night. Wow. Talk about a game. Maybe not for Malik Willis, but he, with what he had, I mean, I watched all 4 quarters of that game. With what he had around him, nobody was catching the football.
No.
He didn't play horrible, in my opinion. He was running for his life 24/7. It seemed like that. Not a single player on that Tennessee offensive line could block anybody, even if you gave 6 extra bodies to them, 12, 14, 16 men on the field. I think they would have given up just as many sacks. So it was a good game, though, 20-17. Yet again, another close finish. And wow, Derrick Henry is back to being him. He's
Oh
just
yeah.
runs. He had a bit of a slower second half, but that first half, he looked like old Derrick Henry again. But of course, we were all on the Chiefs. I don't think anyone would have actually put money behind Tennessee, but if you did, it was a close one and a good one to
Yep.
sweat out. So I don't hate it, but
I
yeah,
mean, they covered the spread
Chiefs,
for you.
yeah, yeah. Chiefs seem to have momentum throughout that whole game, but I don't know. The Titans are just. It's hard when you're coming with a rookie quarterback and you've been having Tannehill for the last 3, 4 years. He's used to the system, so I think it's a little difficult. But if I'm a Titans fan, I'm proud of that game. I'm proud of
Yeah.
that game.
No, I mean, if they had a wide receiver like, say, I don't know, AJ Brown, they maybe would have
Yeah.
won that game.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good wide
Yeah,
receiver
that'd
to
be a
probably
nice guy
keep
to have on
for a
your
couple of years.
team. But sadly, he is not there anymore. And I mean, yeah, I think all were kind of hyping up the Chiefs. Like, usually in this spot on a Sunday night, like, they kind of give it to whoever's up to facing them. And I think that's probably what's
Yep.
going to happen in a couple weeks when they play the Chargers now, since that game got flexed to Sunday night. But,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, Malik Willis, not much he could do there. A decent game, but yeah, honestly, if Tannehill was playing, I could have seen them pulling that out. Chiefs looked like the
Yeah.
Chiefs. I mean, pretty good. They finally got their stuff going together late in the game. Tennessee was making some
Mhm.
good plays defensively, especially in the
Yeah.
second quarter, second and third quarters. But yeah, I mean, that's typical Kansas City. You can never count them out. Honestly, thought they were going to get into field goal range there at the end of regulation. Wouldn't have surprised
Yeah.
me, but yeah, I mean,
Yep.
typical Chiefs, but maybe the gap's not as big between Kansas City, Buffalo, and everyone else like we thought it is.
Yeah. That's a good takeaway from this.
Any of the other games you want to touch on a little bit that we didn't give our predictions for?
No, not really. Nothing stuck out to me at least. That was I mean, the big one I guess we could talk about is the Jets,
The
I
Jets,
guess.
man, they're for real. Shout out my boy Matt. I know he'd
Jets.
be listening. Not you, but I have another. I know too many people named Matt, but I have a kid on my team named Matt who's a Jets fan, and I know he listens, so he's gonna be happy we talked about his Jets. I mean, they're competitive, and now the Bills' 2 losses are in division, so maybe this division's not over like we thought it was.
To go on a little tangent right here, it's with the topic, but I do think personally, in my opinion, going forward, that this AFC East is the strongest division in the NFL. And you can disagree if you want, like we talked about Washington, they're on the up and coming. But do I think a team like Washington is better than the Jets? I don't think so. Do I think they're better than Miami? I don't think so. And they're definitely not better than Buffalo. And now you got New England this week, who I think is now 5-4. So you got a 5-4 team, a 6-3 team, another 6-3 team, and then I think like what, a 6-2 team?
Yeah, Buffalo's 6-2, Miami and New York are both 6-3, and then yeah, the Patriots are 5-4. So I mean, to have every
That's a
team
good
above 500 and like competitive, like they've beaten each other, yeah, it's gonna be interesting when I mean, we saw what happened with New England and Buffalo last year. Granted, it was kind of a goofy weather game when New England went to Buffalo and won, but it's
Yep.
doable. And that's the one thing with the Bills. They are prone to these stinkers sometimes. Like, not really a
Yeah.
great game from Josh Allen. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it
because
happened
you have
last year against Jacksonville, and I think there was one other game where it was like they had no
a
business losing
letdown
and they
spot.
just drop it. Yeah, so
Yeah, with that, it's like, did you see Josh Allen's press conference? He
no,
came
I did
out
not.
and
I didn't
said some
check it out.
he came out and said some harsh words about himself. He
Okay.
said, "You're not going to win like that when your quarterback is playing like fucking trash."
Yeah, I mean, I
So
like
he
that. He's
took
keeping
that hit.
himself accountable.
Yeah, that's about the Jets though. Jets,
The
Jets,
Jets,
Jets.
yeah, I mean, they are pesky. Like I said, they kind of was a little down on them after that New England game. I hyped them up in that preview, and then they kind of fumbled the bag for me. But I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, they're showing they can be competitive and play with just about anyone. So
yeah.
trying to see here really any other notable scores. The Packers. The Packers are a mess. How do you lose to the Detroit Lions?
Aaron
Like,
Rodgers is he has now thrown more interceptions this season than he has in any of his last 3 seasons, and two of those are MVP seasons, and we're only through 9 weeks of football.
yeah.
I do think that definitely has something to do with the loss of Devontae and also not replacing Devontae with competent receivers, in my opinion. Lazard's good. He's a two at best, maybe a grade three in
Yeah.
the league. Then you got like MBS, or not MBS, I'm sorry.
No,
Then you
MVS is
got
gone.
Romeo
He
Dubs.
lost him too.
Yeah. Now you got Romeo Dubs, who's a rookie. You got is it Christian Walker Watson?
Yeah,
Christian Watson,
Watson.
the rookie. He hasn't been getting a lot of playing time for them much. And then they have Randall Cobb. So it's hard when your receiving room is to be frank buns. But I do think Aaron Rodgers needs to turn things around quickly, or I could see him retiring, them moving on from him after this season. That Packers team is just in shambles right now, all across the board. That
Oh
defense should
yeah.
be so much better than they actually are. It's not good over there in Green Bay.
I'm not gonna complain about it though. I think everyone's kind of ready for the Packers, at least here in the Midwest, to be done running that division.
To be done running it. Yeah, I agree. And the last game I want to tell you quick from week 9 is the Raiders, man. This team cannot hold a lead to save their
No.
lives now. This is now 3 20-point leads, I believe, at least 17-point leads that they have blown this season alone, and it's only through 9 weeks. That's 33.5% of their schedule that they've just blown 20-point leads. They did it against Arizona. I forgot the second team they did it against, but then they did it
Kansas.
again this week.
They were up 17
Jackson
like nothing to Kansas City.
yes, it was Kansas City when Kelsey had the 3 or 4 touchdown game. Yes, they were up
Yeah, that
17
Monday night
nothing.
game. Yeah.
Blew that one, lost against Arizona up 20-3, and then they lost to the Jags again this week. Up, I believe it was 20-3, but that Raiders team is a mess, and that's sad because I really thought Derek Carr was getting his college receiver back. Maybe it was high school.
College. They both went to Fresno State.
College. It was college. Oh yeah, it was college. Okay, getting his receiver back. And Devontae, unarguably a top 3 receiver in football. Josh Jacobs, who's looked better. That O-line is just shambles, and it's tough.
Yeah.
There's a little stat out there. It's tough when the Raiders' last 8 first-round picks are not on the roster anymore.
Yeah, they
That's
cut.
tough.
Who'd they cut today or yesterday? They cut like someone else.
Yeah, I know his name. It's not ringing a
Crap.
bell
Yeah,
for
it's
me though. I know exactly
freaking
who you're talking about.
escaping me. But yeah, they cut someone else. Oh, Jonathan Abrams or whatever.
Abrams, yep, the
Yeah, they
safety.
cut him.
Oh, yeah, it's just that team is in shambles right now, and that's the last thing I just want to bring up. That Raiders team is finally taking Atlanta's new spot as choking leads, so I'm fine with it. Take
No,
it away.
yeah. I mean, that's a team I was high on. Like, they are too talented for this to happen. I mean,
Yep.
if it wasn't shown already, Josh McDaniels should not be an NFL head coach. But Brady disciples
yeah.
continue to get jobs. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
do you have anything to add on another guy who probably shouldn't be an NFL coach? Jeff Saturday getting the job for the Colts after they lose to the Patriots 26-3 last week. Do you have any thoughts on that?
He shouldn't be getting a job, but do I like Jeff Saturday? Yeah. Do I like what he said about the Raiders like a week ago? And now that's who they play next week is the Raiders. I love that. It's just, you're bringing something new into the locker room. He's never coached on this level before. And he just, I'm not high on it. I'm not high on it. I like the idea of it, but he's an offensive lineman. He's going to want to work with that offensive lineman. It's hard to work with offensive line when you're 9 weeks behind trying to fight back into a playoff spot that you're probably not going to get. I don't like it that much, but I think it's a cool storyline for sure.
His last coaching experience was in high school in 2020. Do you know his record in that coaching season?
I'd love to hear it.
3-7.
Oh, nice.
Bro
Let's
can't
give him
even
an
coach
NFL
high
job.
school. How is he getting an NFL job? It's just, oh my gosh. Then they have like qualified guys on that staff, like John Fox, who's been an NFL coach before. I mean, I would be very frustrated if I'm someone like Brian Flores. I mean, it's a no-lose situation for Jeff Saturday. I mean, it's like, well, he wasn't talented, like he was kind of set up to fail, or bro somehow gets hot, wins a couple games, and people are like, look at Jeff Saturday. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, but I'm assuming probably not too well.
No, I don't think so.
Alrighty, so that'll wrap it up for our Week 9 takeaways. Now moving on to Week 10, starting the second half here of the NFL season. We have our Pick 6 and Thursday night game. Like Matt said, him and JJ went 6-1 last week. I went 5-2, so I got a game to make up this week. We'll see if I can do it. Granted, I don't know how we'll work in JJ's picks. Hopefully, bro's having a good time at the bar, but we'll figure it out. We're going to start off a rematch of a pretty good game from a couple weeks ago. Matt's 4-5 Atlanta Falcons head to Carolina, who is now 2-7 after getting skunked by Cincinnati last week. The Panthers are currently 2.5 point underdogs, but straight up, who are we liking in this one?
About this week, I can't go against the Falcons, and I won't. Grady Jarrett, there was a little press conference that he held after the loss to the Chargers. He looked fired up. He looked hungry to come back and put this Panthers team 6 feet under. That game was a lot closer than it should have been. They should have honestly, like we talked about in episode 3, they should have probably lost that game outright. But DJ Moore with some bad decision making at the end led to some missed field goals and whatnot. I do think as well on the other side of the ball, the Panthers do look to come out fiery. However, with the whole PJ Walker and Baker flip flopping back and forth, I don't really know where that receiving room stands, not knowing what quarterback is going to come on the field at what moment. Like Walker did not look good at all against the Bengals, and then they put Baker in, and Baker came out 11 to 15, 130 yards and 2 tutties. Like obviously he's playing against the Bengals like second and third stringer, so you can't give him too much credit. But they already announced PJ as the starter going into Thursday night. I love the Falcons here in this spot. I think that it's going to be much more of a confident win for us, and this is a big win for us because yet again we win this. I know it's only Thursday, but we can take the division. For days until the Bucks play, and yeah, I like the Falcons here outright.
I'm agreeing with you. I think they should win this one. I'm going to stay away from handily just because I don't know how good this Falcons team is. I think it's more the Panthers are really freaking bad. And it's also a Thursday night game. Sometimes you can get some sloppy ones. Plus, it is a little difficult
Yeah,
to beat a team twice in a year. But I still think the Falcons are the better team. They should be able to come out and take care of business here. The next game we
agreed.
got, for the first time ever, the NFL is going to Germany. And this is not probably the records you would have thought they would have been flipped heading into this game, most likely. But we have the first place 6-3 Seattle Seahawks and the 4-5 technically first place Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 8:30, bright and early for us. I don't know. I'm going out of town this weekend. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch this one live, but if I do, it should be a good one. The Buccaneers are currently 3-point favorites. Who are you liking in this one?
I like the Bucks. I think I would tease it down a little bit to maybe a -2.5 if we're talking spreads here, just because with the inconsistency of this Bucks team, I don't feel safe for covering a field goal +1 at -4. So with the -3.5, you're kind of getting bent over doggy style with the hook. So I'd go -2.5. But for just the aspect of me and you here, I like the Bucks in this spot. I think this is a big game for Brady to come out, make a statement, throw for 280, 300, win 35-17. Seattle's been rolling, don't get me wrong. And I keep betting against Seattle, and it's making my pockets emptier and emptier every single week. But I think this is a spot where this Bucks team gets a turnaround in Germany. I like the Bucks here. What about you?
See, I actually was starting to talk myself into the Bucks, thinking you might take the Seahawks. But since you're going with the Buccaneers, I'll be different on this one. I'll go Seahawks. In games far out like this, I think team chemistry plays a big deal because you're spending a lot of time on planes, your new culture, you're doing all sorts of like media promotion stuff for it.
Yeah,
I think the Seahawks, they have a really good close tight group this year.
that's a
I guess somehow
commodity. Yeah.
Russell Wilson seems like a nice guy, but kind of cringy. So I guess he was the cancer, and they're all kind of bought in this year. Tampa Bay, man, I don't like. Not as much last week since they won, but I've just seen so many Tom Brady having Karen moments, chewing people out on the sideline. I don't think they have that
Yeah.
culture. The Seahawks have been hot. I mean, the Buccaneers are coming off a win, but I think the Seahawks stay hot. I'd like them definitely straight up in this spot. And then next, we're going now to the noon slate. We're actually going to do 8 games this week, so it's going to be the pick 8 to pick six. We're going to go to Miami, Florida, noon. The Cleveland Browns 3-5, looking to stay in the hunt. Head to the Dolphins, who are also looking to come for their division title. Dolphins are 6-3. Browns are 3-5. Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites. Who do you like in this one?
This is weird because this is the way my brain works, and nobody out there should listen to my brain yet. If Josh Allen doesn't play Sunday against the Bills, which I'm not sure about that, it's still questionable to what I know. I think Miami comes out with this game with fire, knowing they have a chance to take the division. However, if Josh Allen's playing in that game, there's really no correlation between the two. This is just how it works up here. I just think Cleveland matches up very well against this pass heavy play action Miami offense. And I think they can control the clock and pound the ball. This is coming from a Tua fan, not a Dolphins fan. I think I like the Cleveland Browns here. I don't think I like them on the money line, but I like them to cover this spread of +3. So if we're going straight money line bets on our Twitter when we post our plays, I like Miami here. But, if we're getting juicy with it, give me the Browns on the spread. I think they keep this close and they play really well against this Miami team.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, potential letdown spot, but it is also, Miami's a good spot to go out clubbing and stuff like that. It gets to teams sometimes. I mean, Cleveland did have a really good win against Cincinnati 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Football. But I think Cincinnati's kind of inconsistent. I think the Dolphins are a more consistent team, more disciplined. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins as well in this one. All right, so then the next game we got here on the docket, the 3-5 Broncos coming off their win from London 2 weeks ago off the bye. Head to the Titans, who were competitive last week, 5-3. Game is in Nashville, and the Titans are 2.5-point favorites at home. Who are you liking in this one?
See, I was saying earlier, the Titans fan base, it's got to feel good after that. Even though it was a loss to the Chiefs, they still competed. I don't know unless you can give me the answer, if Malik is starting this week or if it's still Tannehill or if it's going to be Tannehill. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that would affect my pick a little bit. They don't have Tannehill is questionable. Okay. And then there's a lot of questions on the Denver side of the ball. I like Denver here, though. They had 2 weeks off. I think they needed it. A lot of teams you can say coming off a bye that they might have a letdown spot there. But sometimes you got to look at it from the opposite perspective, such as they got well rested. They got more team camaraderie together. They hung out more. Stuff like that, small things. I think Russ is starting to slowly get a grip on this Kevin Stefanski run offense. But not Kevin Stefanski. I'm sorry. Who is the head coach for the
Nathaniel
head coach?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Hackett, who isn't not a good head coach. I think Russ is finally getting a hold of everything and understanding this system and this team and the players around him. I like the Broncos here. Titans, just outside of Derrick Henry, there's nothing there to impress me. Yeah, even if Ryan Tannehill plays, he's a great game manager. But there's no receiving threats on that team that scare me. I know the rookie comes back in a week or two, Treylon Burks. So, I mean, they got some hope there. Robert Woods just is the Allen Robinson Walmart version at this point. And I like the Broncos here. I think Broncos country will ride.
Yeah, I mean, Woods hasn't really been the same since that ACL tear, sadly. We're split on a lot of these this week. That's good to see. I'm going with Titans. I mean, yeah, they don't have a lot receiving, but Derrick Henry is that freaking good. Bro can just run all over you. I haven't been super impressed with the Broncos this year. That's more honestly my thing. A lot of these picks, just kind of like the vibes of the team. You got all these stats on, just kind of like who's been playing well, who hasn't.
But that matters sometimes more because
it does.
The Broncos just lost their best pass rusher in Bradley Chubb.
So I'm liking the Titans. I think they're just overall the better team, especially playing at home. They should be able to take care of business unless they, coming off of some high or like think they're world beaters in a loss, but like a moral win, let's be honest.
I think this will be a really good game. I could see like a 23-20. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. It's going to be fun to watch out there. I think it's a noon game too, right?
Yeah, it's a noon game.
Cool.
And then we got 2 more noon games we'll look at. The next one, shout out Tabrithy. Shout out Tim. I know Tim was asking we should shout him out. My boy Tim. We got their Chicago Bears, 3-point favorites at home against the Detroit Lions. 2-6 versus 3-6. Battle for
Go ahead.
second place potentially in the NFC
Yeah,
North here.
yeah. Go ahead. Start this one off. Go ahead. It's all
I
you.
like the Bears. I like the Bears. Bear down. Justin Fields been playing well. I think he keeps it going. Especially at home. I know it is supposed to be a little bit colder. It's not gonna be as nice this week, but
Yeah.
I think he's built for that. He played in Columbus. He's a former Buckeye. Detroit
Yep.
plays in a dome, and I mean they barely squeaked by the Packers, who have not looked good. The Bears were very competitive against a competitive team. I definitely think it's a lesser opponent coming in this week. I think this is one the home fans will head home happy. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This Chicago team has looked really good the last 3 weeks, in my opinion. People want to say 4 or 5 weeks, counting that Commanders and a couple other games where they got finally get their offense under them. But I do think that Patriots game on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night
Monday
Football
Night
was a
Football.
pivotal for them. Pivotal for them. The Cowboys, yes, they lost that game 49-29. However, they looked pretty good throughout a majority of that game. A couple turnovers that didn't go their way and whatnot. And then this past weekend, they looked Justin Fields is him. They looked really good. So I think this is a good spot for them to get that offense even more heavily going, especially that passing game. I think that's what we're really waiting to see with Justin Fields is that passing ability. We know he has the arm strength and the arm talent. We saw it at OU. I think it just comes down to can he, with what he has around him, can he produce? So, and I think against this Detroit Lions secondary, that is just awful, abysmal, giving up 379 and a half points a game. Is just bad. So I like the Bears here too. I'm glad we're on the same side of this one. I do think there's a chance that when Chicago goes into Detroit, that there could be a letdown spot there later in the season. But I think this game in Chicago with this Justin Fields rolling right now, I think the Bears win this game with ease.
There you go. And the final noon one, probably the one that everyone's be watching here, have all eyes on. We have the 7-1 Minnesota Vikings heading up north to Buffalo. 6-2 Bills. Two first place teams. Two teams that this could potentially be a Super Bowl preview. Who are you
Yeah, you're
liking?
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm trying to see if I can get any inside information from the Buffalo Bills camp out there in Buffalo. I don't see anything on Josh Allen. So to me, that looks like a good thing. So if Josh Allen plays, I do think that they win this game against the Vikings. I think the Vikings kind of looked pretty crappy last week against the Commanders. They did control a lot of the game, but I do think that they didn't look as good as this 7-1 team should be looking. And I think that if Josh Allen plays after that comment he made on his post press conference, I think he knows that he needs to turn things around. He can't lose games that mean huge like gratification at this point in the season. So I like the Bills here. I do think it's a dogfight to some degree, but I like the Bills in this spot.
I really should too. I'm gonna do something you're not supposed to do. I'm picking with my heart over my head. Give me noon Kirk Cousins. Bro's been balling out. I love the videos of him with the chain going crazy.
Yes,
I want to
yes.
see another one this weekend. I think he wants to see another one this weekend. Give me the Vikings in this spot. I think they have the talent this year to go with them. They've been playing well. The Bills are coming off a loss. Why not make it two in a row? Give me the Vikings.
Why not? And can we talk about that photo real quick? Not
Oh
even the
my
chain,
gosh.
the flexing. Can we talk about
Respect the drip.
the 8 pack that Kirk is popping
Oh, he
out?
is
Bro, I thought Kirk
freaking
had a dad
loaded.
bod.
Yes, I
This
would have
guy,
thought the same thing.
this guy's got the V and
Oh,
everything, bro.
he's
I'm like, this
loaded.
guy looks like a prime senior at Georgia right now, literally in the weight room, just killing himself every day. He's shredded. So I like that take. I like that take for that sake. Prime Kirk, you can't bet against him. That guy's too good.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so moving on now, we have only same thing as last week, I believe. Only or no, never mind. There's three late afternoon games this week, but the only one we're going to talk about is the 3-6 Rams, or no, the 3-6 Cardinals at the 3-5 Rams. The Rams are currently 1.5-point favorites, playing at home in Inglewood. Who are you liking in this one?
I like the Rams. They need to turn their season around right here. Everybody in that locker room knows it. McVay knows it. Stafford knows it. Cam Akers, Mr. 13 rushes, 4.5 yards or whatever he got the last month of the season. He's Everybody on that roster knows that they should be so much better than where they are at this point. They're playing a divisional game. It's a big divisional game for that matter. They lose this game, like you said earlier in the pod. They lose this game, they might as well just be done. Like three, and they're going to fall to 3-6 at that point. If possibly Seattle wins 4 games out of the division, this is a pivotal game for the Rams to win, and I think Stafford knows that. I think the Rams win by a decent margin in this game. Is all I'll say. But give me the Rams.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like I said, we do not like the Cardinals. They're like just looking horrible. As bad as the Rams have looked, Cardinals have looked even worse. I mean, D Hop's played. He's had some good games, but I think Cooper Cup's better. I think Cooper Cup scores one,
Yep.
maybe even goes for 2 touchdowns, and I
Yeah.
think he helps lead the Rams to win.
Yeah, I see the Rams here. I'm all over it. Glad we're both on the same side of this one as well.
Facts. And then finally to wrap it up on Sunday night, we have the 5-3 Chargers going to the 4-4 49ers. Little battle of California here. The 49ers are currently touchdown favorites at home, and who are you liking in this one?
Oh, see, this is a hard one. We're talking exactly just straight up picks because I do lean the Niners in that fashion. They have looked really good the last couple weeks. Obviously, a letdown spot once in a while, but with getting CMC, I like them a lot. But I like the Chargers +7. If we
Okay.
can lock that in my play of the Sunday night football game or Monday night football game, I'm sorry, Monday night.
Sunday night, Sunday night.
Sunday night. Chargers +7 is what I love. I think even though with all the injuries, Herbert's getting his footing under him. Eckler is just a dog. Eckler is the fantasy walking machine. I like the Chargers to cover, but give me the Niners to win outright.
Yeah, I like the Niners here as well. Screw it, why not? I'll fade you. I'll go Niners cover. I'll go Niners cover.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I just think they have so many weapons, and I think they can
Yeah,
put
hard.
up a high scoring game. The Chargers
Yep.
have the potential to match them. I don't think they do though. Like I said, I mean, pretty low
They
scoring
will.
game, just squeaking it out in Atlanta last week. I mean,
Yeah, against a
Eckler's gonna
bad.
get his, yeah, but I think honestly, I like the Niners' weapons better, so I'm gonna take them.
I think you're on the right side. I think I'm on the bias side of being a Herbert fan, so I think you're on the right side for sure though.
Yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up for our Week 10 picks. You got anything on the college football or NBA side you want to talk about? Crazy weekend this weekend in college football. Like I was kind of saying, these things even themselves out. So what? I know there was something you were telling me about TCU that you liked.
Yeah, oh yeah. TCU is a wagon this season. Thank God for that program and the Froggies. They've been just giving me, printing me coin, which is amazing. But on that opposite side of the spectrum, I think TCU is now a lock. It's a bold take, but it's a lock to make that Final Four of the college football playoffs. I also believe Tennessee is getting in that college four, and this
Ooh.
is why. They lost against the Georgia team. They looked horrible. But I don't blame Hendon Hooker a lot for that game. He made a bad read with an interception in that game. But that Georgia defense is just too tough. That it's hard to play that Georgia team, and that Tennessee offense just got bullied. However, that Tennessee team did beat Alabama. Now we see Bama lose again. And Michigan and Ohio State are going to have to play each other at the end of the year. One of those teams are going to get a loss. Do I think Tennessee makes it over one of those teams with in my opinion is Michigan? I believe so. Obviously, JJ on this Boomer Bust podcast is the college football expert. So me and Derek are just kind of giving our opinions, not so much of where you should lean or bet or anything. It's more of just straight up opinion. But I love the Frogs and TCU, and I like Tennessee still, even after a disappointing game against Georgia. Anything from you that you saw that was interesting?
Yeah, I mean things are gonna get dicey. I agree. Obviously, between Ohio State and Michigan, currently 2-3 right now. One of them's gonna drop that game, and then obviously the other one should go on win the Big Ten title. So then it's gonna be Georgia, whoever wins that game. If TCU runs the table now, I think they've shown they're gonna be in. And then yeah, it's kind of who do you
Yep.
like better? Do you like
Tennessee, Michigan.
a
Do you
one-loss
get Bama?
Michigan, a one-loss Tennessee, potentially if Oregon runs a one-loss conference champ in Oregon? Granted, they
Yep.
got the brakes blown off them by Georgia. Is the committee really going to want to put them at 4 and get to play Georgia again?
Play Georgia
I don't
again? Yeah,
know.
exactly.
So
Would we like to see Tennessee against Georgia again? I think maybe.
possibly, but I mean Georgia kind of rolled in that game too. It wasn't as big of a blowout, but I mean
No, but yeah, the momentum
it
was
never
on that.
really felt like Tennessee was like going to win that game.
Never,
So
never. gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting for sure. Keep an eye out for the pods in the next couple of weeks to get a little more in depth
Yes,
about
sir.
college
Yes,
football because it's
sir.
gonna be good.
And then I mean NBA. We had all 15 teams in action Monday night. Would you watch? You catch any of those games?
No, I was actually out of town. I was out in the city on
Ah.
Monday, so I didn't watch a lot of basketball. Sadly, didn't get to place a lot of bets. Just watched the Ravens game at the bar I was at, playing the Saints. But yeah, no, nothing big on Monday. Why? What happened that I missed that you could have possibly
Oh, I
seen?
mean, well, big thing the Bucks no longer undefeated. We will not have a team go 82-0 this year. I mean, that's
Oh,
a pretty solid Hawks team that they had to go into Atlanta and play. I'm trying to think what other of the games I watched. Oh, Josh Hart hit a pretty cold hearted buzzer beater against the Heat. So the
I think I
Blazers,
saw that on Twitter. I think I
yeah,
saw that on Twitter.
Blazers have been a sneaky team this year. I mean, I was watching their game a little bit tonight before we recorded against the Hornets. Dame was looked like he was playing pretty well. Um,
Mhm.
I'm gonna complain about NBA blackouts. I couldn't watch like a Pacers game because me being 4.5 hours away from Indianapolis, they're definitely in my
It's just
local
blacked out.
market.
It's so annoying. It's so tedious. It's ridiculous. I hate them.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I've been seeing Benedict Matherin's been balling out. Like he'd be fun to watch, and I can't watch him because I'm blacked out of Pacers games
Yeah.
here in Iowa. Really close.
Another thing I want to, yeah, exactly. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, and this podcast will be out on Thursday, November 10th, I believe.
Mm.
Um, we're recording it now on Wednesday the 9th, as we stated in the prior video. And Javon Carter for the Milwaukee Bucks has 36 points tonight. No Drew Holiday, no Giannis. I just something I want to throw out there. It's like those stats that you see when you see like Tony Snell years ago. He
Yeah.
played 45 minutes and he had 0.0 rebounds. It's just, or you see players that go off that really shouldn't like be going off. But we got to give respect to a player like that off the bench. Javon Carter, you're not getting that many minutes in Milwaukee, but you're dropping 36 and 12 assists on 5 of 10 from three. I just figured I'd point it out, give a shout out
Yeah.
to Javon Carter for that one. Got him on my fantasy team. So,
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
for
he's a
my
he's
sake.
a
But
he's
yeah,
a bit of a dog. I mean, he had some good games
yeah.
in Phoenix too. So, I'm trying to think
That,
anything else here. I
other
think
than
that's kind of
that, I
it.
mean, James Harden's injury for the
Oh
Sixers is going to
yeah,
hurt them a little bit, I think. But I do think for his sake, it's going to be good because Doc loves playing James Harden 35, 38 minutes a night. So I think some rest for a player who's getting older. He's not as shifty as he was. He's gone through a couple hip and sorry,
you're good.
sorry, sorry. That was rough. But yeah, James Harden, he's gone through a couple injuries and whatnot in the last couple of years. So I do believe that this is good for him, giving him some rest. And it's not the middle of the year. It's obviously still the first month of the season. So, but I do think rest is needed. So for Philly's sake, I don't think it hurts him too much. But I do think that like the teams such as the Bulls, the Cavs, even the Nets, like these are situations where you want to take advantage of not having like the second best player on the court for an opposing team. You want to take advantage and try and get games up in the division. So, or in the conference, I should say. So, just a little news about there, James Harden, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean the Nets. They announced today they're hiring Jock Vaughn as the whole like full turn rest of the
Yes.
season. So no Ime Udoka drama. Maybe they'll finally start to turn it around. They're sitting at 5-7 now. So I mean, knocking on the door. I mean their season's not over if they can get their stuff together. Granted, Kyrie's suspended now. Yeah, I mean NBA, especially that Eastern Conference, it was gonna be competitive. Holy crap! Yeah, I just got the notification. The Bucks won that game in double overtime against the Thunder. Another one. Glad I
Yeah.
couldn't watch because I'm blacked out.
It all comes full circle.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean that's all I got on NBA. I'm trying to think NHL here. We got a couple wagons. Not to toot my own horn. I went 5-6 in my NHL picks yesterday. Boston
Nice.
Bruins. Boston Bruins. People thought it was gonna be their last dance here. I mean they're playing well. They're 10-2.
Yeah.
Vegas has been looking pretty good. The New Jersey Devils, sneaky team. Sneaky
I got a,
team.
I got another team that's looked really good through these 10, 12 games. That's
Okay.
the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings look
They
pretty good. They're
have.
like 7-2 or 7-3,
Yeah,
I
they're in a
believe.
they're in a playoff spot right now. So that's gonna
Yeah,
be a
that
really
that team looks
competitive
pretty
division.
good.
We'll see if they can keep that up.
Yeah. I don't got much more on NHL. It's
No, that's
fun to
fine.
watch. I love the SOGs prop to anyone out there who's NHL. Shots on goal
Big
prop is
shots on
probably the
goal
best.
guy. See, the one time I
Big,
bet
very
on him a couple weeks ago, I like watched this video and this like dude was like so confident, like these two players. So of course I bet on it and they both
yeah.
missed. I was like, all right, I'm done betting on freaking shots on goal props. Like I'm done. Like nope,
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
just stick to winners. So, I'm trying to think.
Really,
Oh,
just everybody's sports betting life
literally,
is you know.
I'm on the Devils, the Islanders, and the Bruins tomorrow. Those are my teams. If you're listening, shoot Darock's hat trick parlay. 3 winners
Oh,
for
I
you.
like that name.
I
The
might,
hat
yeah.
trick.
I mean, like I
Okay,
said,
okay, Woot. Okay.
hopefully some NHL content. We're apologizing, guys. We're at once a week right now. We're gonna try to get more stuff out there. The help of our middle co-host was here, but he's not. So me and Matt, we're gonna try to put the team on our back a little bit here and start pumping out some more stuff for you guys.
There's always going to be an episode on Wednesday, everybody. Just keep an eye out. You know, if you're busy or working and you're not sure if we post it on Monday or Tuesday, you can always check the Twitter, check the Instagram, peep it out. But if you're not sure, it's always going to be an episode on Wednesday, whether it's me and Derek by himself, me by myself, JJ by himself at the bar. Who knows? There's always going to be an episode out Wednesday. But me and Derek and me and Wood are trying to figure something out for maybe like a Monday or a Tuesday NBA podcast. So, you know, drop a comment, drop a like below if you'd like to see that. But we're just trying to give you guys as much content as possible and keep the ball rolling here.
Yes, sir. What do you and Matt always like to say to end the you and JJ always like to say to end the show?
So, well, you know, make sure to turn on the noties. Make
Yes,
sure to turn
sir.
on.
The Noties, bro. Join
Turn
the
them on.
Noti gang, bro. Ring
Exactly. It's
that
not that hard. Hit
bell.
the little bell. Hit the little
Yes,
bell. You'll be
sir.
notified when we post. You don't even got to watch it when we post. You just know that that we posted in the back of your mind. You know, turn it on when you're whatever doing chores around the house. Who cares? Just turn the noties on, please, will ya? Turn them on.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, that'll wrap us up for us. We will see you guys next time. Peace.